everybody. You are wrestling fans, and we are the degenerates who like to talk about it. Welcome to episode 4 of Kicking At It 2. I am Michael. As always, with me is Tori. We also have a co-host over here, my daughter. This week we bring to you some news. We are going to talk about AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk about Smackdown, and we're also going to talk about Rampage. And of course, as anything as you've seen, we will probably go off on a lot of tangents. So,
We did.
to get started, we're going to go ahead and talk about some news. Firstly, there's been some rumor speculation on CM Punk, which has been a big hot topic since Scrumgate. Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer himself, is stating that Punk is still currently under contract. He has been quoted to say that he's ready and willing to move on to his next project. The scuttlebutt on that is that right now his contract is still on, and there's some fight about doing a buyout on it because of the non-compete clause. That it's possibly too long. There hasn't been any official word on that. There's just kind of been rumors sprinkled here and there. I completely get it if that's the case, because I personally don't think Tripp would sign him up. But the fact that he might, that's enough of a thought of, I'm not going to let this guy go and go wherever he wants to go.
I agree with you. But like I said, Tripp may not like the dude, but he knows full well it's what's best for business if he signs him, even if he wrestles 2 matches.
Even if he doesn't wrestle at all, to be honest.
Just him showing up for any reason is going to be a huge ratings pop. Look what he did for Dynamite.
I mean, even just stick Ricky Rabies on commentary and he'll be fine.
Wow.
What? That's his character on the show.
No, I'm vetoing that now. We're not going back to a 3-man booth. The hell with that.
Fair enough. And I don't want him kicking out any of the people that are already there. They're doing fine on their own. Another bit of news, Brian Alvarez discussed William Regal's contract, which we'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly when we get into Dynamite. But there's been a lot of talk of whether it was a 3-year deal or whether it was a 1-year deal. There's even rumors of there was an out specifically that if Tripp got into Power, that he'd have an out in his contract to leave.
Really?
So I doubt that. I don't see that wordage happening in a contract to go, hey, I'm going to come to you, but if Triple H takes over the company for some reason, then I get to leave. I don't see that, but
at the same time, look at the response he got when he came in, and how he came in, and what happened.
Right.
So I read something, and I don't remember who had reported it, but they said it was just a short-term contract, several months.
And that seems to be what the majority of news sites are saying right now, is that it was a short-term deal.
He came in what, May?
Ish, somewhere in there.
Ish?
Yeah. The BCC, so as much as it's been great, has not been a long-term thing. So,
if it was a 6-month deal, it made perfect sense.
Yeah. And even if not, I mean, what do you do with him now? Like, I kind of get that.
You're not going to put him back with John. There's no way he's taking that apology.
Right. And you still get to pay off the story, which we'll talk about the story in a little bit, but I mean, you still get to pay that off, even with Regal not there. In fact, Regal not being there kind of makes it even better.
I agree.
Depending on what he ends up doing over in WWE. So we might see him popping up in WWE, maybe on-screen GM role again, or backstage with NXT, or maybe even just with his son. Like that may be something he wants to do.
His son's there?
Yeah, his son's in NXT right now.
Really? Who is it?
I forget his name. You were about to say something, so go ahead and...
Oh, thing I read said Triple H knew that his either contract was up or was coming up, and that's why he posted the tweet before War Games.
Okay.
He knew there was... I don't know if he knew he was leaving for sure, if it was a done deal. I don't know what specifically he knew, obviously, but they're saying that that's why he tweeted. It just wouldn't be the same without and then he just posted the
The War
video.
Games, yeah. Charlie Dempsey is the name of his son.
Charlie Dempsey. I don't even know who that is. Is he related to Bull Dempsey? I don't even know who that kid is.
He came from NXT UK, which I mean,
Got the hamburger meat all hanging out.
yeah. He's a good kid. His gimmick basically is just hard nosed wrestler, which makes sense. I mean,
it makes sense with who Dad is.
Yeah, but he's really good in the ring. He definitely you see a lot of Regal in it. So
I can imagine.
They did a vignette of him, I think, on the last NXT taping, if I remember right, which I'm surprised we missed it then. Where he was doing some backstage training and he was doing like the bend backs where you arch your back and lay your head and your feet, working on those. So maybe that's what he's coming back in for. Whatever he's coming back in for, it doesn't matter.
No,
William Regal.
It's a huge get.
Yeah, it's a huge get. Whether he's backstage or whether he's in front of the camera, doesn't matter. If nothing else, for next year to hear him say War Games, just bring him out for that. And like, okay,
you run him out there once a year, and we are all happy people.
Yep. And then last little bit of news that we're going to talk about: former Impact Wrestling champion Eric Young apparently is coming back. They did an Impact show here recently. I think we mentioned on the last show or the show before, where he was essentially beat down by his own crew. They did a vignette. He got
stabbed.
Yes. So, and that's what I was going to get at. So there was a vignette of him. It escapes me. But they're back there and they're doing this talk in a jail cell, or more of like an interrogation room of Eric Young saying that you need to kill the sickness that's going on. That's what we need to do because that's what's failing us. And with this failing us, we can't get any bigger, we can't get stronger. And there's very much a tension of like, is Eric talking about him? And then it's obvious after they fight, he's got Eric down on his back, he's got the shank in his hand, and it's obvious that Eric is talking about himself. You need to kill me, you need to do this.
We're shanking people now.
Yeah.
What are we, back to the Carlito and that one dude story? What are we,
in the club, shaking him in the rib.
Like,
here's the thing, like, you and me may differ on that. That's one of the things I love about Impact. Impact always has amazing, fun backstage stuff.
I mean, and if it works for him, it works for him. I'm just like, is this what we're doing again? Like, are we going back here?
I mean, it's a good way, I think, to get rid of it. I think that, as far as getting Eric off screen.
So
literally killing him off is weird.
Right. So now he's never coming back? Is that...
But so, yeah, the idea is, what does he do now if he comes back to WWE? Because that's the big rumor right now, is that he's going to sign with WWE. He's going to come back.
We were talking about this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nikki, either last night or this morning, tweeted about Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane teaming up at a show. And she hashtagged it Sandy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we had a conversation about that. Yeah.
Because like we talked about Friday when we were talking during the shows, I wonder if they're going to put Sanity back together. It was a great team.
It was.
Bring him to the main roster and water him down is what happened to him.
Well, and to me, it wasn't even watering them down at first. It was watering Nikki down at first, because Sanity itself was okay, but then they
took Nikki off the team when they brought her
up. Yeah. And then when they brought her in, she was, a half version of her crazy self.
She's the perfect crazy right now. That shit is.
So, I mean, and that can make sense too, and what's old is new with some of this stuff. And
right.
You bring Sanity in.
She also tweeted a picture of, it was an old picture of Candice in the back at NXT, and Nikki was behind her somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tweeted the picture from Monday.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, we're throwing it back then. Oh, okay. This drink sponsored by Sonic, even though they don't sponsor us, whatever.
By God, get my Route 44 cherry limeade. So, if he comes back, cool. If he doesn't, cool.
If he's just backstage, he's got a great mind for the business. He always has.
Go ahead and hit AEW Dynamite. Overall, good show. Definitely some things to move things along. Some wonderful wrestling matches, which they're always good for.
Yeah.
AEW is always good for that in-ring content. Little fun on the story stuff, but wrestling's always a good thing. So we started with an in-ring segment. John Moxley coming out. Since you grew up about 90 miles away from where they are. Essentially just a, like, I'm the man here. I went up the food chain. It belongs to me. And that no one is able to step up to me. And then Hangman Page comes back.
I was not expecting that.
I was not either. I heard he was injured. And so
they're saying he is. He's not cleared.
Still injured? Oh, wow.
He's not cleared.
Okay. Well, if that's the case,
from what they said in commentary, from what anything I've read about it, he's still not cleared.
Huh. Okay.
But that was a good old-fashioned Donnybrook.
It was. So he comes out. They just kind of stand face to face. Hangman doesn't really say a word, and then just drops Moxley with a punch and takes the fight to him.
It was because of what Moxley said.
Yeah.
He said, "You sure you want to do this? Because you remember what happened last time, or do you not remember that?" And that's when Hangman punched him. And I was like, "Damn, son, that was cold."
So they fight up the rampway. Moxley scared me a little bit. I thought he might have broke his ankle when he fell off the ramp, because he just kind of laid there for a second and then got up.
I think the laying there was, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah. So then they fight to the back. Just in case I miss it, halfway through the show, we get a little backstage.
Return.
They're still doing it. So apparently they've been fighting for a long time that night.
Apparently, from what commentary said, they had gotten them separated and were supposed to be escorting them out of the building, and they saw each other and went back at it.
Yeah, which is always good. A pull apart is always a fun way to start a thing. One thing that kind of bugs me is a lot of people that I see on Twitter complaining, like, who's the face, who's the heel. I don't think that matters in this situation.
Who cares? I think I, to an extent, think we need to stop with this who's the face, who's the heel. I'm not saying in every situation.
Right.
Obviously, case in point, the Acclaimed and anybody else.
Yeah.
It's pretty much going to be the Acclaimed as the face. Now, them and FTR, that's going to be a face versus face thing, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and there's nothing
wrong. You run the guns on there,
that.
or Jay Lethal and that geriatric he's carrying around right now, then that's different.
Yeah.
But something like this, we don't need a face and heel. We just need these two to beat the shit out of each other.
Right, and I think as long as the story lets it happen, that's all that matters. The only matches,
as long as the story fits and makes sense.
Yeah, the only match I've ever had a problem with when it comes to same side versus same side is heel versus heel, because those rarely ever make sense. They're not fighting for honor. They're not fighting for any sort of
who can cheat the best.
There's hardly ever a good reason for a heel to face a heel, but a face to face a face, especially in this instance, because you have Hangman, who was the face of the company, dropped off dramatically, had this whole issue with Punk that happened. Like, it makes sense for him to say it. Like, look, I want my place back.
Right. Well, and I want to say, was he after he won the title or after he lost it? It was not. It looked like he was going through the motions every time he was out there. Like, he was just kind of there.
Yeah.
So if we're getting the Hangman back when he had that banger with Kenny Omega, okay, cool. If we're gonna get that half-ass Hangman back, go back home, bro.
Yeah. Which I mean, at the time they were also doing the drinking story, so maybe it was part of it. But I don't know.
But they never capitalized on that.
They never did, and they hardly ever referenced it on TV. It was always like, a BTE thing specifically.
Right.
And that's the only issue that I've really ever had with AEW is they assume people watch BTE, and they need to stop, because not everybody watches that. So you can't start a story on that show, and then
it makes sense on Dynamite and Rampage. And unless you're going to reference that
Mm-hmm.
in the show.
Yeah. Which,
if you're
why
going to
wouldn't
do
you though? That's
right, if
the
you're going to
other
do a
side of it.
video package, because now we're going to have Ricky Starks versus one of the Young Bucks, and go, for reference, this is where this started. Here's the video package, including this segment.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But just starting them there and not continuing them there, or starting them there and then moving them to TV, makes no sense.
Yep.
No sense whatsoever.
None
And that's one of
whatsoever.
those things that I have struggled with Tony Khan, is he does that a lot.
Yeah. Well, and even when we're talking about like the YouTube show and Rampage, not the viewership for those shows are so minimal that again, like you can't start or continue a story there, which we'll get to one later that I know you want to talk about, because I think that's starting a story. And again, like I don't know if I start a story on Rampage.
Which one?
So with House of Black coming out, because there was a
Oh,
thing.
yes.
There was a thing at the very end, which which didn't make
right,
tape.
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it, because it's a whole thing.
Okay, so match, Bryan Danielson versus Dax Harwood. I was really looking forward to this match because Dax is
right now
career of his life right now.
He's my wrestler of the year right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not taking anything away from Roman and what he's done. You've wrestled like 8 times this year.
Yep.
This dude is putting on literally banger after. He's like Sheamus right now.
It's banger after banger after banger. A really great match. I don't want to go into too much detail about it. Just if you're listening to us talk about it, go watch it. Go watch the match from bell to bell.
Incredible.
It was a great match.
It was shorter than I thought it would be.
It was, but I think that's fine. I don't need every match that is a great wrestling match to go 30 minutes. I don't need that all the time.
I would love for this to be one of the goes for Dax to go, yeah, you beat me this time. I want 30 minutes, or I want, you know what I'm saying? Let's
Man match or something.
Something, yeah. And because Dax beating Bryan doesn't hurt Bryan at all.
No.
Because of the year Dax is having.
Well, and honestly, so like to talk about the end segment, they're exchanging pin attempts as they roll around on the canvas. That little, like, they got both each other in a cradle and it roll and roll and roll. And Danielson just transitions it straight into a label lock, forcing him to tap out. It was really nice. It is one of those moments where, like, Kevin Dunn gets a lot of crap because of his camera direction. I think he would have done a better job on that match, though.
I agree.
Because you didn't see him tap out hardly. You
couldn't see his hand hardly.
Yeah, you saw the hand, but even I think it was Tony had to reference it. It's like if the camera would have seen it, his hands were locked across his eyes, so he couldn't see where he was.
Yeah,
that's why he was flailing.
He wasn't in a good position for it, and it's just how they ended up. But they should have had a camera over there. I agree.
Yeah, I don't want 32 cuts in a certain segment of a match, but with 32 cuts, at least you'll get that shot you want. I mean,
or the in and out thing like they used to do when Cesaro did the swing.
Oh yeah.
God, I hated that. I did think the end was hilarious when Bryan stuck his hand out and Dax started to walk off, and he was like, "Like I'm just playing, bro."
And then
they came back. Hands, I was like, "Okay, that's solid."
It was really good. Amazing match though. Both of these guys are just really great in the ring. And Dax getting to show off his abilities as a single guy. Wonderful look.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we had a backstage segment with Ricky Starks. He announces that he's going to be in the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal, and we hear for the first of 55,000 times that the rules are going to be different this time. I never heard them explain what they're going to be.
I think they did though, because they basically said, because it used to be whoever won this got the ring. Well, because MJF's not in it to defend the ring, whoever wins it gets a shot at MJF, and I don't know if it's for the title in the ring or just the ring.
Okay.
Fair enough. Either way, from what I remember seeing about this match, who was in it, I don't think there's a bad choice. Let me see if I can go ahead and keep going, and let me see if I can find who was in the ring match.
Yeah, because we have just some backstage segments to get through, so you can look that up while we're going through that. This is where we came back from commercial and we saw Hangman Page and Mox going at it again. So that fight still going on. Then we had a backstage segment with Jericho Appreciation Society and the BCC. Um, I don't. JAS is getting on my last nerve, to be honest. I'm ready for that to end.
Yeah.
Um, they just need to split those guys off. But so you have Claudio and Yuta sitting across from Garcia, Menard, Parker, and Hagar. Menard says that Claudio
That
could
accent
be
is
anything.
so bad.
What's that?
His accent is
Oh,
so the way the way
the
he
over the
pumps
top
that
New
up.
York.
Yes. I'm like,
Um,
what are you in a bad Kurt Russell movie, dude? Stop.
but he says that Claudio could be anything he wants once he joins the Appreciation Society, even a yodeler because he knows he likes to yodel, referencing that he's Swiss. Um, so Claudio gets fired up, basically says he's tired of interviews, he's tired of talking. He just wants to get in the ring and beat the crap out of people, which I'm perfectly fine with. Um, Yuta then also just kind of randomly challenges Garcia for the ROH
Pure
uh,
title
yeah,
that
pure
Garcia
title.
took from Wheeler.
Yeah, which I get why he did it, but it was just kind of like a well, now that
I don't know.
segment's kind of done. Hey,
Yeah,
you and me fight, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Okay.
it was really weird. It wasn't. That was not a smooth segment at all.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, go ahead.
one other thing that I did like about it, just before you say what you found, as much as I hate the stupid hat, um,
I like this hat. Hate it. It's so dumb.
but him referencing that him and Claudio used to be a tag team was kind of cool. Here, you can put the hat on. We can wear it together. Like, okay, that's
Next, they're
nice.
gonna come out and be We the People again, but
Mm-hmm.
let's not.
No, let's not do that. All right, what'd you find?
Dynamite Battle Royal. It is Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, Matt Hardy, Dalton Castle, which I thought was interesting. Ricky
Okay.
Starks, Ethan Page, Brian Cage, and Sean Dean. Okay, first of all, we have a Sean Dean sighting somewhere besides Dark or Elevation.
Yeah,
Um, and then Ethan Page, I don't remember on which show it was, but he said that he was going to make Hardy help him win.
that was this show.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this isn't going to go like that. There's no chance he's helping you.
No,
There's no chance.
not at all.
Legitimate winner possibilities. I don't see Jungle Boy. I think Luchasaurus or Christian will cost him that.
Yeah.
Matt's not winning it.
No.
I don't see Brian Cage winning it. I think they're going to keep going with him and Joe. He's going to get in the mix with Joe and Powerhouse and Wardlow. It's where they should put him. Big, meaty men slapping meat. I mean, just put all four of them in the ring. They're four of the probably the most athletic people in the company, too. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
so Ricky Starks, Ethan Page, or Dalton Castle make the most sense. Sean Dean is there just to fill this role, and I don't understand it at all, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, I see the Ethan Page thing. I see him being cost by Hardy or Private Party, which keeps that feud thing going.
I could see Hardy winning it and them forcing him to give it up.
That could be too. That wouldn't be bad.
Now, Ethan Page MJF would be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be a great match. But MJF is nuclear heat right now, and running somebody else that's basically a heel right now is a terrible idea.
It's back to what I was saying about heel versus heel. It's
right, which means that's probably what'll happen. I actually think the best choice, honestly, is Ricky Starks.
Yeah, Ricky Starks would be definitely a good choice.
The Dalton Castle edition surprised me.
It does me too. I mean, he did that match with Jericho,
and
and so maybe it was a multi-match thing that he signed, and he's like, this is just going to be the one he gets in. I don't know, but But I mean, it'll be good. Like you said, there's no real bad choices in that match, so we'll see something good out of it regardless. Then we get to the TNT Championship, Samoa Joe versus AR Fox. I haven't seen a lot of AR Fox. I am impressed
Me too.
by what he's doing.
Me
He's
too. They signed him too.
pretty good. Yeah.
We got the nope spot.
Well, that's what I was going to go with. So just kind of the ending of the match. Fox goes for a dive to the outside while Joe dodges it. The Joe nope spot, as we have
Shout out to Phoenix.
Yep. But Fox lands on his feet, and so you get like, it's one of those things like Joe can do serious, Joe can do comedy. Joe doing the like,
and then that dude landed on his feet. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But then he did it again later, and the Joe noped him again.
Yeah.
And the guy missed, and I was like, that's so good. We're going back to it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So Joe, when he does the nope shot later, Joe blasts him with a back elbow, and then hits a muscle buster for the win. Good match. It was a good showing for Fox. There was no way he was going to beat Joe, but
no,
he definitely got some good stuff in to show who he was. So then Joe grabs the mic and proclaims he's the king of television. Wardlow appears on the screen and says he's coming for what's his. He tells Joe that it's Wardlow's world, and that's where we're gonna go. So
I am already sick of this catchphrase. Why don't we just go back to Suffer and Succotash? This is awful.
Yeah.
Wardlow's world? Are you serious right now? Drum World said they want their gimmick back. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like green eggs and ham either, but I'm not a fan of this in the slightest.
I'm about to write a book now.
Right?
Dr. Seuss and Wardlow's World. We got a promo package with Powerhouse Hobbs. Apparently, they're kind of repackaging him, going back to his roots. So we're getting some, back in the hood type of stuff, which is gonna be good. I think it's good to center him into a person where he's not just like the other guy in Team Taz like he had been.
Yeah.
The broadcast team highlights the FTW champion Hook's recent win over Lee Moriarty, and then Taz doing his best John Madden impression, does the little things on the screen.
Telestrator.
You watch more than I do. Does he do that? Like, is this the first time he's done that, or is that? I hope they keep that up. I like it.
This may be the second or third. It has not happened a lot. But I'm just like, so we're just doing this because it's his kid? Like,
well, and that's what I'm kind of wondering. Like, is it just because it's Hook, or is this going to be a thing he's going to do? I'd love to see him just do it.
I give Hook all the credit in the world. That kid has done a great job.
Yeah, especially for what little pro experience he has.
He had like 17 matches.
Yeah.
I think his first loss needs to be a big one. It needs to be somebody just humongous.
Yep.
Even if it's shady, that his first loss needs to be somebody that matters.
I wouldn't mind if they continue running this until next year, and have him win the chip. And then his first
Battle Royal?
Yeah, and then his first loss is MJF if he's still the champ, or whoever the champ is at the time. Because
I would like, honestly, I would like to see him lose in a match that doesn't cost him the FTW title.
Yeah.
I don't know how you make it happen, but somebody like Omega, somebody huge, like huge name. Even Joe would work, but I think if you.
And with that thought, would it have to be a definitive loss, or like they're brawling outside and
double count out?
Yeah, something.
I just think whenever he takes his first loss, whether it's pinfall submission, his first official in-ring loss, it needs to be a big name and it needs to matter.
Yeah.
But it also needs to show, hey, this kid went in there with Kenny Omega and stood toe-to-toe.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be Kenny. I'm just using him as the example.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully it will be. I'm concerned about his first loss. I'm also concerned about Jade's first loss. And the fact that we're kind of running those things parallel right now of who's going to,
I'm not super concerned about Jade's. Um, I think her loss to anybody, if she loses to Britt, Nyla, Tony, Jamie, a decent Soraya,
mm-hmm.
it's not going to hurt her.
It's not. And I don't
It
think they're
needs
going to
to
have
be
her lose
somebody
to
that
just nobody,
matters.
but I do worry that it's going to not mean something, and that's my concern.
Right. Honestly, the best thing I can think storyline wise is it's Nyla.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no chance she's letting that go.
No, no, she
Jade
won't.
Cargill, whatever number, and one, and that one was me.
Yep, I could see that
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, it needs to be. I think honestly, Nyla makes the most sense. And at this point, I think Kiera Hogan costing her the win makes complete sense.
Yep, especially
So,
after the interview this week, which we'll talk about that.
yeah.
Then we have an amazing in-ring segment with MJF. William Regal comes out to the ring, tells him that the real champion of AEW is MJF. I know you want to talk about this, so go ahead.
My
And
thing, it wasn't, I mean, Regal came out, MJF came out. He talks about the email from Regal and what it said and how they put this all together. One of my things I noticed was the amount of that people seemed to be for Regal. There was no cheering, but there was no booing.
right,
And after what he did, that should have been massive heat. Nothing.
yeah.
And as much as him going back to WWE is a good thing, I don't think AEW is losing anything by letting him go.
I don't disagree. Him going to WWE, while it's good for WWE, like I said, I think we can still pay off this thing that happens
Yeah.
without any issue. Um, some of the stuff he mentions in this, like he is just a heat magnet. Calling,
MJF,
yeah, calling Bruno
he may be
Sammartino a schmuck. Um,
he he may have better heat now than any of the guys, Rock, Austin, Hunter, any of them had back in the day. He is just
yeah, at
he
least.
knows how to make people hate his guts, and he's perfectly fine with it.
So I look at MJF and I see, as far as like where he is in his game, right? And I see like Rock when he first started with the Nation. And
Yep.
I think he's better on the mic at that section of his career than Rock was
Yeah.
at that time.
Because Rock was still finding it. He
Yeah,
was good, and I am in no way to me he is one of the top three best on the mic ever.
absolutely.
I think MJF has already inserted himself in at least the top 10 and maybe the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and it's great. I know we've mentioned before, like the idea of like, are they a good talker or are they good overall? He's one of those, like, him talking gets me to watch the match, but then I also enjoy the match because he's also really
Yeah.
good with his psychology in the ring.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. He's
so
got those.
go ahead.
He's got the talking of Flair with the ring psychology of Dusty.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think that's probably the most accurate way to describe what he has right now.
yeah. He talks about the fact that he got the brass knuckles and then gave not just a regular scar but an emotional scar to John Moxley. He turns attention to the firm and starts talking about them, um, and that MJF is not the type to chase anyone around. He shows off his new belt.
So stupid.
It's stupid,
But it
but
fits.
it fits him. Yeah. Um, I,
It's the Rock's Brahma Bull belt. It's the Austin Smoking Skull belt.
yeah.
I mean, this is complete throwback.
Yeah.
Championship thing.
I,
I just went completely stupid for a second.
I was glad to see it. I do wonder though. So the TNT title kind of had that gimmick of every person that got it had their own spin on it. Does that mean we're not going to do that anymore, or are we? Because if we do that too much, where every person gets a personalized belt, then it becomes
takes away
something
from it.
Yeah, it's stupid at that point. It's just
it's why that Brahma Bull belt and that Smoking Skull belt and the Spinner belt were so huge.
Yeah.
Because nobody else had that. I mean, Cody brought back the white belt, and that made that Intercontinental title seem so big.
Yeah.
I actually think when he loses it, whoever it needs to be, needs to talk about, hey, you did this, but this is the belt that from day one we've all been fighting for. This is the one that, make that belt. Granted, they've only been around a few years, but make that belt important.
Yeah.
In that build-up.
Yep. I liked looking at Regal's face because Regal's always good at his reactions. MJF says Eddie Kingston will never be world champion. Talks about Ricky Starks being a fake star, but then drops Bryan Danielson is a fake wrestler.
Why did you? Okay, I get mentioning Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
I get mentioning Bryan Danielson. Why did you throw Eddie Kingston in there?
I don't know, unless it's just a setup for like that's going to be the first.
And if it is, thing. I'm here for it because that will be great, and Kingston will put him over.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like just those three names alone, those are three entirely different matches. You got a fast, high flying rate of Ricky Starks. You've got a down and out GCW type of thing with Eddie Kingston, and then you have the wrestling technique with Bryan Danielson. Those are going to be three entirely different matches, and I'm here for that. Don't give me the same stuff.
Wrestles all three. And him mentioning Ricky is why I think Ricky has a good shot at the Dynamite Diamond Ring match. Yeah. Because that match will be fantastic.
Yeah. MJF says that as long as he's the one as long as he's in AEW, no one else will know what it's like to hold the title, at least until the bidding war of 2024. Which this time though he does a nice little spin on it and says, but no one may win that battle because maybe Hollywood's going to win that battle because he's going to be in a movie soon, and so that's a nice little addition to I'm better than you.
It was at the same time. I want to see how this movie that he's in goes before we go, oh, you're the next Dwayne, Batista, John.
Absolutely.
Randy, Miz. I mean, get in line, bro. Summer Rae's been in a movie. It's not that impressive anymore.
Well, and I'm looking forward to that movie, which that's something we can definitely talk about.
I don't even know what it is.
Later time. It's a Von Erichs movie.
Oh, that's right.
And he's playing, which I don't know if you ever knew about this, but so at a time where that territory was getting pretty lax with attendance, they decided to bring in a new Von Erich. But he wasn't a Von Erich. He was a long-distant cousin that they'd never talked about, and it was just a guy. And so it obviously didn't get over because they're all like, obviously if there was another Von Erich out there, we would have seen him by now. And so that whole thing fell flat. Plus he looked nothing like the boys. Like it was weird.
So MJF's playing the random dude.
He's playing the random one. Yeah. So okay. It may not be a big role. I don't know.
We'll just have to see how it goes. But
yeah,
I definitely think him throwing the Hollywood in there was a nice wrinkle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think you're counting your chickens here, bro. You need to calm down a little.
So he vows his reign will be better than Hulk Hogan, JBL, and Bruno Sammartino.
Look, kid, you better keep JBL's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Look what he did to Blue Meanie the last time Blue Meanie talked junk about him. I'm just saying.
He'll come out there with his hammer pants and clothesline from hell, yeah. MJF credits Regal for making this possible before he then blindsides him in the back of the head.
Saw that coming a mile away.
Yep. To top it off, he kind of gets down there with him into the mic, and he rewords the email that was sent to him a long time ago when he was trying to get in WWE that he can send him his stuff when he's a top talent, and that he can call him up at that point because he only deals with main talent now. Regal then gets loaded to a stretcher after Bryan Danielson has come out, which the fact that he was like still in his boots but still like half like I like the way he was dressed for this, because it was like he was getting his gear off and then saw what happened.
One boot.
Yeah.
No, it was so perfectly done.
Yeah.
And I definitely think Regal, or when we have Bryan Danielson and MJF the first time, that's going to be a great match.
It is going to be a great match, and that's, I've alluded to a couple of times now that we can still pay this off even if Regal leaves. That's how we do it, because he can still talk about Regal. He can still bring up Regal. Like, you can still talk about him in the promo, as even with him not there.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Talking about how he's
he can even say, I've talked to William Regal. He's doing better. He's healing, whatever. He doesn't ever have to show back up.
No, he doesn't have to. And then we get an Arya Daivari sighting. Ricky Starks versus Arya Daivari. So before the match, Stokely Hathaway, Ethan Page, and Matt Hardy come on stage. And this is what you were talking about. So he comes out there, and Page reminds Hardy that they own him, and he vows to win the Diamond Ring Battle Royal because Hardy's going to help him do it. Which then kind of gets a nice little back and forth from them. And he says that definitely Starks isn't going to win if he even makes it to the Battle Royal. And then Daivari takes the fight to Starks, and that ends very quickly. Starks fires back with a spear. It's Rochambeau for the win. Ball game.
That shit really was over quicker than my last relationship. Like, what the fuck?
You forgot the Dynamite.
Yep, it's the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Thank you.
Way to keep him on track. Good
That's
job.
Right. That's right. So then we have a backstage segment with Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Essentially, this evolves into Tony was interviewing Britt, and Hayter said, "I'm the champion. Why aren't you interviewing me?"
Are you seeing the wedge they're starting to put in? That's going to be so good.
That's going to be good when it happens. But a nice little thing there. Then we have Willow Nightingale, which is possibly one of my favorites right now.
I love her. I don't care. That's the problem.
No, I get it. She's, the
fact that she won stunned me.
Yeah. So thinking of a comparison, a Summer Rae back in the day, or
Lana when she started wrestling.
Yeah, so fan favorite. I like her. Doesn't really have anything for me to back her yet. The backing for me was to get her signed, and now we got her signed, and now you got to give me another reason that I want to watch her.
Jade Cargill. There's your winner. Give it to Willow.
Give it to Willow.
You want to see the place go crazy, make Willow matter to the people, and give Jade a reason to hate everyone. There's your win.
There you go. I like it.
Because Willow's would not be in the baddie section.
No.
And Jade can make that. I'm not saying she needs to go out there and fat shame her, but you can still do it without being hateful about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without talking about Piggy James. I gotcha. No, and her getting help from Hogan would make sense because she got kicked out of the baddies and she wasn't going to be in the baddies.
I think the baddies are going to end up turning on Jade anyway, because did you see it's Red Velvet and I can't remember the other one's name.
Go ahead. I'll look it up.
But when the Jade was in the ring talking, the one that I can't remember her name, and when you tell me, I'm gonna remember and be like, damn it. She was looking at her like, bitch, what? So whether it's the whole group turns on her, it's just Kira that cost the title, whatever. I think this is definitely a way to make Jade go off on her own. And so that way, when the first loss happens, it's not a clean loss, but the loss has happened.
Yeah, that would make sense. Now everything I'm pulling up right now is showing the old group when Kira was still part of it.
Red Velvet, Kira Hogan. Oh my God, how can I not remember this girl's name? Lila Gray.
There you go. I think I was just getting there because I got to a story of one being injured, and that's why she wasn't in it for a while.
Yeah, Kira Hogan was out because Red Velvet was out because of injury, and that's when Lila Gray came in.
Yeah. So
but yeah, Lila was looking at her like, I'm sorry, bitch, what?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the baddies will end up costing her that win, and that's how she'll get her first loss. That way, she still looks strong, but we've gotten this done and over with.
Yeah.
So losses in the future aren't a big deal.
Yep. So it's Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay, which Tay Mello's out there with her. Jay goes for Quicksilver, but Willow counters. Mello distracts Willow, and Jay tries to capitalize with a pin attempt, but Willow kicks out. Willow then hits a lariat and drops Jay with the Dr. Bomb for the win. So pretty decisive big win for her. After the match, though, Ruby Soho returns and attacks Mello, and she dropped her with a Destination Unknown on the ramp.
Have you seen the hate she's getting online?
Are you talking about for the fact that she had plastic surgery while she was gone, or
because she had to?
Yeah, she had a nose job because she got her nose broke.
She had a nose job because literally her nose got broken, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're just coming back with a new face." No, bitch, she got her nose broken. Like the fuck.
I hope they keep that same attention when Natty comes back, because Natty's got to have a whole new nose too.
She's gonna have a whole new face, probably. She's gonna have a goatee that's red. She just does this a lot.
But Ruby, I mean, plastic surgery stuff aside,
I love Ruby.
Looks amazing. Looks like she's in the best shape of her life. And you can definitely tell she's feeling it now that she's back in the ring. Was just smooth. I didn't see any hiccups in what she was doing. And
I definitely, I want to see Ruby and Paige get back together.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because that's a great way to make Ruby more widely known, but without, I called her Paige, Saraya having to be in the ring all the time because Ruby can do the work.
Yep. Hey, speaking of which, I thought about what you said, and I think she can still call it the Rampage.
We should.
Because AEW Rampage. It's
just change how they spell it. But no, it's the Rampage. I'm always that and the Page Turner, which I thought was a great name for that move.
Yep.
Because I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I was happy with the Ruby return. She looked good. I'm excited to see what they do with her. I'm perfectly fine throwing her back in there in the mix with the JAS.
Yep. And she's one of those, like, no matter what you do with her, you can always stick her back into the main picture and nobody's going to question it. So whether they stick her back with the JAS stuff, whether they just have her, come and be with Paige or Saraya, or they want to stick her in the title picture, I don't care. Put her wherever you want to, as long as she's on the TV. Would be a hell
of a match.
Yep.
Because Jamie Hayter can get in there and go.
Yep. Then we have a backstage segment with QT Marshall and Orange Cassidy.
Blah blah blah.
The only thing I found kind of fun about this is QT Marshall is complaining that people keep interrupting him, and then he's trying to challenge for the title, and Orange Cassidy just keeps interrupting, going, yeah, you got it. but I want to be a lumberjack match. And then Tony then interrupts him to close out the interview. I kind of like that. It was fun.
I love Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
I was built for this gimmick.
Yep.
I was built for it. I love this gimmick. That kid is athletic as hell. You could put the world title on him and I'd be fine with it.
Given the right circumstance, I could see that.
Even as a hold this, I'd still be fine with it.
He just happens to win it, in some weird
schmoz happenstance. Lazy way he just falls there.
So like a good idea. They don't talk about it, but Brian Kendrick was a world heavyweight champion at one point because of the scramble match.
Oh.
So do like a thing like that. He just happens to get a pin. Gets the title for a minute.
World champion.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it because we don't talk about Brian Kendrick.
Yeah. Even though he's back, he's back. Yep.
That's a whole. I'm not dogpiling that. It's too easy.
So Cassidy accepts. So we're gonna have a lumberjack match on Rampage, which we'll talk about later in the show. In-ring segment, we have the TBS Championship celebration. So many people trying not to stare at Jade in the crowd. It's amazing. Because you can just see the men just like, I shouldn't be staring.
I'd have been like...
But, I mean, just coming out there only as Jade can. I mean...
Right. Honestly... There's not a lot of other women in wrestling that could pull off the looks that she's pulled off. And I do not say that in a derogatory way about anybody else.
No.
But the way that she's been presented and presented herself everywhere she's gone and since day one, other people couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's like Seth and the lingerie that he wore Monday night.
That outfit was banging. Okay, yeah. Look, I don't care.
Looks great on him, but if Roman came out in it...
No, he can't do it. There's certain people that could. Theory could pull something like that off. The pretty boy look.
Maybe.
But Seth. I mean, so it's the same thing. Yeah. She's 100% a trendsetter.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
And she definitely let us know in this little interview. She's in there alongside Red Velvet and Layla Gray. She says that she made the baddies and she got rid of the trash last week, talking about dropping Hogan.
You had her name here and we couldn't find it.
Yeah. I forgot that I copied it down.
Go us. Go team.
She then badmouths the baddies, though, and basically says, like, you can either come along with me or you can get to stepping. She says the entire company is eating off of her. And then at that point, Bow Wow does a Teams meeting or something. I'm not sure what happened here. It just says, yeah, you deserve your flowers, but I've got time, so I'm going to see you real soon. This weird her versus Bow Wow Twitter thing going on. I don't get it.
Do you know how this started?
Because she called him a whack rapper, didn't she?
No. He slid up in her DMs one night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She called him out publicly, and they've been going back and forth since.
Nice. Okay.
Either he slid up in her DMs or he slid up on a tweet trying to holla at her, and she was like, "Boy, bitch, please."
Little Bow Wow ain't so little anymore.
Right. I wonder if it's going to be the way they're going to bring in somebody.
Maybe.
Have him bring somebody in. And if you do it that way and cost her the match, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely going to get interesting. I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Or you put Willow with him because Willow fangirling out because it's Bow Wow.
Yeah.
Would fit her character.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is the real one right here.
Right.
Gotcha. I like it. Then we have a backstage segment with the Acclaimed. This to me felt like old school DX stuff.
It was beautiful.
It was really nice. You got Daddy Ass. He's being a drill sergeant. Why are we on TV? Because everybody loves the Acclaimed and no one wants to fight us. Well, what are we going to do about it? Well, this Friday we're going to fight the world's best team. But how are we going to do that when you're the world's best team? We meant the second best team.
I did kind of get the we're gonna invade WCW.
Yeah.
That whole thing. That's exactly what I saw in this, and I'm like, this is so good.
Yep.
I love the Acclaim. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna act like I don't. I love those kids.
They're great. Then we end up at the main event. It's match 3 of the best of 7 series.
Oh, that shit was crazy.
The Elite versus Death Triangle. I really like this match because my concern with these 6 guys is that we were going to end up with the same, like, everything's over the top, everything's massive,
so
everything's
different
big.
than the first 2.
Yeah, and this one was a lot more subdued and more in-ring storytelling than it was flippy-floppy moves.
Well, and it was we're going to attack you on the ramp, and we're not going to hit a bunch of funky moves. We're just going to beat you down.
Yeah. So the ending of this match, Phoenix dives onto Nick and Omega at ringside. That leaves Penta in the ring. He follows suit and jumps out there too. That leaves Pac and Matt alone in the ring, which Pac gets a 2 count with a brainbuster. But Matt then counters the Black Arrow by getting knees up in Pac's face, and then just kind of schoolboys him up. Just like kind of a quick roll-up pin for it.
I like
really nice win, really easy. Like, getting a sneaky win is not a bad thing. You guys got too confident, you guys got too cocky, you thought you were going to beat us, and then we slipped in and took it. Very nice way to end that. After the match, Omega closed out the show. He hasn't been able to do that in a long time.
He butchered it too, which was funny. He's like, I forgot how to do this.
That's right. But he basically says he vowed to turn the series into a reverse sweep, that they're going to take the rest of the matches and end this out. Really good show. I'll be honest, I haven't been big on watching AEW, mainly just because I haven't cared to.
Right.
Now that we're doing this, I'm definitely getting more into it. There's still some things that I prefer the pizzazz and the big blowstering of WWE.
And I get that 100%.
Yeah.
I liked it because... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, that AEW to me still feels like, like we talk about WCW and WWE back in the day. WCW, before they upped the production value, that's what I feel from them, is they don't quite have the production value yet, but the show's there, the talent's there.
Right.
I kind of miss the big things. It's like the little things of, like, having the right camera angle for that tap out earlier, like that, little things like that.
Right. I like it. I actually prefer. I will say this. I preferred AEW before Hunter took over.
Yeah.
Just because I got so it was the same crap every week.
Right.
Vince beat a dead horse, and then he kept beating it until it had a baby, and then he beat that to death too.
Yep.
But
it's not his fault.
But I've been a big AEW fan since they started. I loved them through the pandemic. The fact that they were doing shows in basically an empty arena with just wrestlers at ringside was great to me.
Yes.
I felt like that was a better way. Had NXT picked up doing that from AEW.
Absolutely.
So I like AEW. I thought it was a great show. I really enjoyed a lot of it. There was some of it I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So...
Which there's always going to be that. I mean, you're always going to have the food match. You're always going to have the less than storyline. That's always going to be there. We're not going to like 100% of what's there, but that's the good thing about wrestling, is that there's something for everyone. So that leads us to SmackDown. I do have a lot of detail on the first segment, just because it was a Bloodline segment, and I love the Bloodline. So we start out with Sami Zayn's music hitting. Usos and Solo walk down there with him. Kind of a normal thing. Jay says that Bloodline is in their city. Zayn tells them that at Survivor Series, the Bloodline had leveled up again. Started to talk about the tag team champions, and Jimmy cuts him off and is like, no, we're not going to do that. Tonight is about you. You won the match for us. You leveled up. Yeah. And you became Sammy Uso. And then the crowd goes nuts chanting Sammy Uso. And he asks him, how does that make you feel, Sammy? And of course,
So stupid.
So stupid, but held on to it. Looked around the arena. Everybody's already chanting it, and he says, "You know what? It makes me feel pretty dang oozy." Um, so it's a nice little thing. Zayn and Jimmy go for their handshake, and then he asks Jay to come join in. They do a double handshake, all three of them doing it at the same time. Before they can mess with Solo, because I'm pretty sure that's what would have happened if this would have waited any more beats. You had the Brutes come out. Sheamus says he hates to kick a fellow Ginger, but he's done talking. It's fight night. So he gets in the ring, bell rings, and we're underway. Kind of to go through the quick ending of it, Sheamus is going for a brogue kick, but Jimmy gets on the apron and distracts Sheamus. Zayn grabs Sheamus for the cover, but Sheamus kicks out. Zayn distracts the referee. Jimmy comes in with a kick on Sheamus. Sheamus gets hit with the Blue Thunder Bomb, and he goes for the cover, but Sheamus kicks out. The Brutes and the Bloodline start fighting on the outside. Jimmy gets up on the ring apron. He distracts the referee. Jay comes in, hits Sheamus with a super kick, and then Zayn rolls up Sheamus to get the pin. Fun overall match. I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. It was a good pace. It was a lot of schmaz, which is always fun to see, as long as they don't overdo it. But we get the winner being Sami Zayn. Backstage segment with Legado del Fantasma.
Well, before we move on to that,
yeah,
because we've kind of theorized on what's going to happen and when the bloodline turns and so on, how that's going to happen. I am really starting to think, because of the facial expressions and the body language and so on, that it's going to be Solo. I know some people have written about it, and I don't remember who specifically has said it, but just watching what they're doing with him, I am much more inclined to think that it's going to be him.
Yeah.
Because the body language is like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, he always looks, and you know, we kind of discussed it in text the other day when I was watching it. It always looks to me like when they're doing the Usos and Sammy getting along, there's always this look on Solo's face, and I wonder, annoyed. Right, and I wonder if it's, y'all forgot about me. I've been sitting over here in NXT waiting for you guys to show me some love, to bring me up, and y'all didn't even bring me here.
Roman did.
Yeah.
Is it that, or is it, why is he getting so much more love than me when I'm your actual brother?
Well, and that, yeah, to me that all kind of ties in together, of like, I'm actual blood, and the fact that, like, that thought coming up, and the fact that Kevin keeps bringing that up every time Kevin talks about it, of they're not your actual blood.
It's that like what Kevin's doing is gonna get a response out of Solo, and it makes me wonder if it's not Kevin's gotten in Solo's ear, not Sammy's ear.
Yeah.
Or has Kevin gotten in Solo's ear as part of what him and Sammy are gonna do?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's gonna play out. I'm definitely starting to lean more towards it being Solo that causes whatever rift, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, it definitely could be. You know, with him not being the one putting up the ones, with him always looking annoyed at what's going on with Sammy.
I feel like he's Taz.
Yeah, never joining in on the love that's going on. Him being the turning point of, I'm your blood. I should be getting this attention. I should be there. I should be the one,
right?
Not him. I definitely can see that happening. Which we get even kind of more of that later on in a segment. Just to go ahead and bring that up and get it out of the way. So Sammy tells the Usos, "Hey, y'all hungry? I'm hungry. I know the perfect place here to eat. I'm gonna go grab some food." And they tell him to take Solo with him.
Yeah, I thought that was.
He has this moment of like, really? You want me to take him with me?
Right.
And just kind of that dismissive sound in his voice, like that kind of stuff, leads in perfectly to it. We'll talk more about that segment later, though, because that has a fun little ending to it. So the backstage segment with Legado del Fantasma, not a really big thing. It's just Santos Escobar basically saying, "Hey, I'm going to win the SmackDown World Cup."
Angelina Vegas, chef kiss. That
yeah.
woman is.
Yeah.
Whew. Malachi Black is a lucky man.
Backstage segment with Kofi Kingston. You got Megan Morant back there with Kofi Kingston, telling her that he is the first WWE superstar to declare he is entering into the Royal Rumble, which is perfect. I'm glad. Like, he deserves to be the first one to say it. That's a nice little shine spot for him.
And he wasn't there last year, or was it last year and the year before? He's missed a couple of Rumbles.
He's missed a couple because we haven't had the Kofi spots.
That's what I was about to say, was we haven't had a good Kofi spot in a while.
Yeah. She asked him about the finals of the SmackDown World Cup, which at first I was like, why are you asking him this? But then as the segment rolled on, I kind of get it. So Kofi says that he likes what he sees from Santos, but he can't ever count out Ricochet. I don't know why he can't. Everybody else did.
Him and Ricochet are boys.
Yeah. He's on up, down a lot.
Yeah, right. I was just getting ready to say Ricochet's been on up, down a ton.
In come Imperium, and they ask Megan why they would even ask Kofi this, considering he spends more time on the internet with Woods than he does in the ring. Kofi basically says, "Hey, Woods isn't here tonight, but I'm more than willing to get in the ring with either one of you." And then Gunther rolls up, and then you realize that it's going to be a bad night for Kofi.
It wasn't just that. It was after they walked off, he was like, "What? You was just hiding back there the whole time? Yeah. Like you went."
Which how they hid that 6'3" man, I don't understand. But
I will say that Marcel Bartel's facial expressions may be some of the best thing on TV right now.
Absolutely.
That look of disdain he just has for everyone cracks me up.
Yeah. Nose up in the air, whole 9 yards.
Like, you're beneath me. Why are you talking to me?
Wonderful gimmick.
So good.
Then we had a backstage segment with Bray Wyatt. This segment kind of scares me because I think we're getting back into Bray Wyatt's talking in circles in his interviews, because I didn't really understand a lot of what he was talking about.
I missed it, so
so here's kind of the crib notes of it. He's standing backstage in the dark, as he always is. He says that we are spoiled and society has given us a wild lifestyle. People forget that we were wild animals. Animals eat insects. Animals and insects eat each other to survive, and that is normal. Wyatt says we don't dare talk about these things, even though these are our primal instincts and our primal minds. He says he's not the one that hurt LA Knight. He says he is the one that hurt him, referencing someone else, and that now he has rejoiced. But if he had been the one, then we would all know that it would have been him, because then there would have been none of Knight left. I don't know. It's like I said, at one point, Bray's interviews really started talking in circles, and they never really made a lot of sense. And you had people on the internet that were decrypting it, and it's like, yeah, but he said this one word 3 years ago in this one other segment, and no, he literally was just kind of talking, and that's what this seemed like. It seemed like he's just saying things now, which, I mean, if they're giving him the reins, it's going to happen. At some point, he's going to say some stuff that is nonsensical, and I think
intentionally.
Like, no, by no means am I discrediting Bray for his mind in the business, because I think it's better than this. However, it reminds me a lot of the idea of Russo, which Russo had great ideas, but if he didn't have someone to filter his bad ones through,
the payoff wasn't there.
Like you'd end up with SEX in TNA. You know, you end up with that gimmick, and that's because no one was there to stop him from, hey, maybe we shouldn't put that on TV.
Right. Well, I mean, you end up with Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
Yep.
But I don't know. I was happy when I knew that he was coming back. Looking forward to it. I thought that first speech in the ring, hey, cool, we're getting a little different character. I feel like we're just sliding back to the Fiend.
Yeah.
And why?
Well,
why are we rewinding this?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like we're going back to nonsensical, spooky Bray Wyatt, and that's not what we liked about when he came back. When he came back, he was being Bray, and all this other stuff was pulling him trying to not be Bray. But now, without them even trying, Bray's already sounding like he's a weird cult leader, talking about random bugs and animals eating each other.
Right.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But that leads us to Shayna Baszler versus Emma. We start with a little backstage, like they're in Gorilla and she's stretching, and we get a her and Moss thing. I'm going to start calling this the Rocky speech moment, because that's what it is. He's telling her like how good she is and how she needs to take it to Shayna, and then she's going to go out there and get her ass kicked, because that's what's going to happen. She gives him a kiss on the cheek.
Dude, that was bad.
She did. So ending of this is Emma climbs to the top rope, but Shayna kicks the top rope and then kicks Emma in the face. Then Shayna grabs her with an armbar off the top rope and gets Emma pretty much immediately in the Kirifuda clutch, in the middle of the ring. Emma taps out. Ball game. Like, that is done.
Did Emma come back just to do the job? Is that what Tennille Dashwood is doing here? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. It's one of those things, like, some people don't care about that, and that's fine. If that's them, they just want to come back because they like being in WWE. Okay, just come here and do the job. Be the Eugene, whatever you need to do.
Wow.
Be Barry Horowitz. I don't know, but maybe that's all it is for her. I do find it weird that we hyped up her coming back so much just to end up where we are now. So Shayna grabs Emma's arm after the match, and then Shotzi comes out.
And gets beat down again.
She gets beat down with a knee to the face. So then she is starting to grab Shotzi's arm. And then Raquel comes out, the one-armed wonder. And then finally Shayna leaves. Mentioned the entire time, it took 3 of y'all for me to leave.
This is my problem with this. I'm not disputing Shayna Baszler is a badass.
Mm-hmm.
It took Emma and Shotzi. Okay, the two of them running her off would have made way more sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then you bring Raquel out there. Of course she's going to leave.
Yeah.
One-armed or not, Raquel's a huge one. Like, what?
Well, and now it's 3-on-1. Like, it makes sense that she left at that point. She's not.
Yeah, but it just.
She's not
the
taking.
fact that the two of you couldn't get the job done, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, she's taking a heel powder, but she's taking it smart. Like, that's a smart heel powder.
And she said it took 3 of you all.
And that was after.
This is kind of like the Becky damage control thing.
Yeah. And this was after Cole said it. Cole said it in his commentary, and then Shayna said it too.
Yeah.
That's like, we're just, saying the fact that, all right, the rest of this women's division sucks. You got her in here.
Side note to this, I read somewhere that Raquel is not actually hurt. They're just doing this to sell the injury.
Yep. Then we have a promo package of Lacey Evans. We are rebooting her character for the 53rd time.
She's turning to the Big Show. Like, stop it.
The only thing I'm hoping is, so the first round of vignettes right before Vince left, where it was getting down serious. She was becoming a good, a face for the company because we were backing. She is an American hero. She was in the military. I'm a face, and then immediately they turned her heel when she showed up on TV. I'm hoping that if nothing else, we're going back to she's a badass, because she is. Let her just be a badass. It's fine. Or take her back to the old gimmick. Either one, but just stop playing with her character. Pick a character and move.
Send her back to NXT.
Yeah.
She's not that polished in the ring. She makes a lot of mistakes, and she's going to hurt somebody.
Yep.
She's not Brie Bella, but she's getting there. So the best thing they send her back and let her feud with Mandy.
Yeah.
Talking about how send her back to NXT, give her back the Southern Belle gimmick, and let her make fun of Mandy.
Mm-hmm. See, the thing is that you say send her back. I'd even be fine sending her back with what they're doing here, and just have her go back and go, I'm tired of all you pretty women here talking about how you're big and bad. You don't know what big and bad is, and that's fine. But I agree with you. I don't see a place for her on the main roster right now. And then you changed her character 5 times in the past few years.
Well, and if she goes back, she needs to not say all the pretty women because she's gorgeous. She's a beautiful woman.
She is, but I think saying in the metaphorical sense of all the pretty women.
I just all you Barbie dolls, okay, yeah. But because of what they've done with her, I just don't care.
I don't disagree at all. Yeah. Then we have the Intercontinental Champion Gunther with Imperium versus Kofi Kingston.
Went exactly like we expected it to
go. Absolutely did. Ending moments of the match, Gunther with the Boston Crab in the middle of the ring. And he turns it into a headlock. Kofi gets out of it, and he kicks Gunther in the back of the knee. Kofi goes for the SOS, but Gunther turns that into a gut wrench, but Kofi lands on his feet. Then Gunther with a drop kick. He hits Kofi with a power bomb, which... I'll get to that here in a second. So he hits him with a power bomb, goes for the cover. Kofi kicks out. He grabs him and then puts him in a sit-out power slam that now they're going to call the Last Symphony. The problem I have for this is that power bomb looked devastating. And the sit-out power slam looked like a sit-out power slam. So the move he did before he finished the match looked better than his finisher, and he is a devastating big man. Him. Yeah.
They keep doing, like, I get tweaking certain characters. I don't get continually tweaking the same characters.
Yeah. Well, and with him, so, like, the thought I had to myself is the power bomb that he did look so devastating. I'd be fine if that was the finisher. Not a lot of people use power bomb anymore as a finish. No. Have him just do a devastating power bomb, and that's called the Last Symphony, because I like that. Because looking up his name made me realize that there was a German composer, Gunther, and so that works for me on a sense of, okay, the name and the finisher name make sense together. But yeah, the when you get a chance, look at the finisher he did. It wasn't a strong-looking finish. Like, I thought he was going to kick out again and we'd have more match, but that's not what happened.
But, did anybody actually think Kofi was winning?
No.
Like,
Well, and especially, because there is so much story going on right now with Gunther and Ricochet. We're not going to have Kofi beat Gunther to make it seem like Ricochet has a shot. That's the
only way that would have made sense is if we had a different main event and we'd already had the Santos Ricochet match, or if Braun had come out.
Yeah.
Had Braun come out, distracted him, took out the other two, and that's how Gunther lost, even in a non-title, makes sense.
So, little fantasy booking, and then we'll get on to into the next thing. I'm hoping that this build-up with Woods and Kofi with Imperium's lesser two is a lead-up to bring Big E back to have him get that IC belt.
Is he cleared?
I don't know, but to me, if he's cleared, that's a perfect bring-in right there. Have him come back, get that title. Obviously you can't put him in the world title right now.
No.
Comes back, gets that IC.
That Intercontinental title on him, you make the Intercontinental title important.
Yeah. And then you get New Day back together, and that's money. I don't know why they split them up on different brands. You could have done that storyline with them on the same brand without a problem, especially because you kept mixing brands anyway.
It's not even just that. It's look at how well they did when Kofi had the title.
Yeah.
those guys have no problem taking a backseat to their partner because they're such good friends.
Right. Which I love that that's the story, and I love that that's what they're pulling for, is we don't ever want to break up like the normal breakups of one of us gets too big for our station and decides we're going to turn on the others. We don't want that.
No.
If Biggie gets a shot at the world title, awesome.
Right.
If Kofi gets it, awesome. If Austin gets it, awesome.
I would like to see Woods get a decent singles title run.
I want to see him get an actual program against Roman because he's one of the only people to have pinned Roman.
Oh, that's right.
So why they backed off of that and not at least gave him a program? Let him run it. Let him lose, that's fine. But him getting a main event spot against Roman would be awesome.
This is another one of those split those titles off. Him doing the job to Woods through shenanigans from somebody else does not make Roman look weak.
From New Day. It had to be someone else. You got two guys out there.
They've had their issues with it'd be one of those things that make a big deal of we're doing this one-on-one and then have the New Day like trap the Bloodline in their dressing room.
Yeah.
And come out and mess with Roman and that cost him the win. And him be like, where were you all? They're like, we couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Well, but by the time he gets back there, whatever was blocking the door is gone.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, and just the idea itself of they are mad about losing the longest reign. So now we're going to screw with you.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
If I'm booking that, first of all, Big E comes back. We're starting immediately with Big E, Kofi, and the Usos. Mm-hmm. So you show Woods say, I want you one-on-one. Nobody at ringside, just you and me. No Wise Man, no Bloodline, no New Day. Well, then you see Kofi and Woods come out, and then the Usos music hit, but they're not there.
Right.
But they don't show the dressing room. They just don't come out.
Yeah.
And then shenanigans happen. Woods beats Roman. When he goes to the back, he goes to the dressing room and like, where were you guys? And they're like, what are you talking about? Like either it's one of those where Woods did something to mess with what they saw on the monitor or something, so they couldn't see what was happening. Mm-hmm. Or he comes back and they're like, we couldn't get out. He's like, what are you talking about? I just walked in that door like nothing was wrong. And it later shows footage of Big E or somebody putting something in front of the door, and then after the match, it being moved or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's something almost not like it needs to be like the old gold GTV, but something like that would be right up New Day's alley.
Either that, or we see a backstage interview later with New Day. Have them have gotten out, but they got out too late, and they changed the door. And so there's a backstage later of a broken door next to Big E and like a screw gun or something. Like he switched the door.
Like that. Just something for them to mess with them to cost that. Okay, I could tangent this. Go on.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we have a backstage segment with the Bloodline that we talked about. So Zayn leaves with Solo to go get some food. But then Sheamus comes and beats the hell out of the Usos with a shillelagh. And tells them good luck on their match on Monday, and if they win, he and McIntyre are waiting for him. So
they announced later that regardless of who wins that match, Friday they're facing Drew and Sheamus.
Yeah.
The Usos are not losing to Elias and
no
RK Bro. If they do, I will eat this piece of paper. Like, no.
Yeah, my God, no, they're not losing to them. That's not happening. We have an in-ring segment then with Damage Control. Bayley comes out, dogs the town like she always does. Dogs Michael Cole like she always does.
I can't hate on the Michael Cole clowns, but otherwise, whatever.
They talk about how in War Games, the three of them went 95 minutes and 19 seconds, and she doesn't know why everybody's cheering for Becky. because
What
they're the ones
she
that won the
means
match.
is Dakota loaded them on her back and carried them for 95 minutes and 19 seconds. And first of all, that's an hour and a half. No, you did not, bitch. Shut up.
And the fans chant for Becky, but Bayley tells them that Becky's not there tonight. Bayley wants to talk about the SmackDown roster. Basically says that no one in the SmackDown women's roster is worth their time or worth their effort. She's disappointed in the women's SmackDown championship history. At that point, she's basically saying no one can step up to us, and then Liv comes out, which I'm really glad. I was really hoping that Liv wouldn't just fade to the background, so now we're going to put her back out there.
Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm. And she comes out there, and she has a mic, and very short, very sweet, which is always good for Liv. Like, I love Liv, but when they let her talk too long, it goes off the rails. She essentially just counts the people in the ring, goes, "That's good enough," and runs out there.
That seems fair, is what she said. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's some confidence right there.
Liv grabs a kendo stick, hits damage control with it. Nox hits Bayley. Oh, sorry. Out comes Tegan Nox, excuse me, because Sky and Dakota start to attack Liv. And so then out comes Tegan Nox. That's the big surprise. So Liv grabs her kendo stick, beats damage control with it. Nox hits Bayley with the shiniest wizard. And then we have this story back of her and Kai.
Which I like. But what I read was when Bayley originally pitched the damage control idea, it was her, Bayley, Candice LeRae, and Tegan Nox.
Yep.
But by the time they did it, Tegan and Candice weren't there because Candice had gone to have Quill, and Tegan was gone.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I love EO. I don't want to make this sound like I'm dogging on EO, but I do think Nox would have fit that so much better.
I agree.
So I can definitely see where they're coming from on that. EO's a great pinch hit for it.
Oh yeah,
but
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised to see a tag match of some kind where Tegan turns on whoever her partner is,
and joins
Dakota
up.
And Bayley turn on EO, and Tegan joins them.
Okay.
Because there's a ton of history with Tegan and Dakota.
Well, and you could almost play that really easily if you did a thing with EO and Asuka, and then they start building more respect versus hatred. And so then they kick her out because, like, you're getting too close to the enemy.
Yep.
Then we have a backstage segment with Cross and Scarlett. It's a Cross and Scarlett segment. I mean,
TikTok.
It is what it is, but they are essentially apparently going to go after Rey Mysterio next. That's their next target.
I don't like Rey. Anyway, we're moving on. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. We cut to Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. They mentioned that next week is Kurt Angle's birthday celebration, so I guess we're having a special Kurt Angle episode next week. And we'll move right along. We have a promo package with Uncle Howdy. Cuts to Uncle Howdy, who asks, "How well do you know your neighbor?" He says he knows how he thinks and how he feels. It's all fiction. He is talking, and videos of Bray Wyatt starts flashing across the screen. So, I don't know. I don't get it. Then we had the SmackDown World Cup Finals. Wonderful match. It's kind of one of those that I'm not going to go blow for blow with this one. It was a great match.
So good.
Go watch it.
So good. They both made themselves and each other look like $1 million. That was a main event worthy of the main event picture.
It definitely was. To do some quick highlight of it, of things I like though. So Escobar motions that he's going to shoot an arrow. That's a pullback from his Lucha Underground character King Cuerno, because that was one of his big moves. Was called the
that
arrow.
Was him.
That was him. Called the Arrow from the Depths of Hell. It was a suicide dive he did.
Escobar was King Cuerno?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Ricochet was Prince Puma. And they had a match there.
That I knew.
Yeah. They both actually tweeted a picture from them in Lucha Underground and said, "Let's go." So
okay.
They both referenced it on Twitter. But that was the big thing. So Queen Cuerno was the hunter in that promotion, and so he
Gotcha.
would pull the arrow, let it go, and then he would hit a suicide dive. So referencing that, Escobar lifts up Ricochet on the top rope, does a reverse poison Rana off the top rope, which was sick.
That Hurricane Rana off the barricade outside was really nice.
That was really nice too. Yeah, them both standing on the barricade.
I thought it was Ricochet that hit the reverse Rana off the top.
Was it Ricochet? That's
yeah,
right.
It was Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet hit that one, and then Escobar hit one
on him in the ring.
Yeah.
Then they did that Hurricane Rana on the floor, and then Ricochet hit the reverse Rana off the top.
That's right. Basically a lot of flippy, but I liked it. It was a lot of good stuff.
I appreciated that they ejected the rest of Legado.
Yes.
Zelina Vega getting tossed because of the other two was hysterical. She's like, yes, get to the back. It's your fault, like yelling at them the whole way. Yeah. And I was like, that's good storytelling.
Absolutely.
That's good storytelling.
And it makes it an even match, which we needed to have in order for Ricochet to win. Because it's one of those, if they stayed out there, how's Ricochet going to win when it's essentially 4-on-1?
Right.
So Ricochet wins with the 630 splash, which is always just insane.
So pretty.
He hits that so well, and then just kind of rolls up and then turns to the pin. And
then he did I think it was the jump over the top rope where he landed outside on the floor on his feet.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this dude is ungodly athletic. Like, it's not fair to everybody else.
His legs have to be made of some sort of mechanical thing, because there's no way it's made of human bone, because it would have snapped. So Ricochet walks up, grabs the World Cup. Luckily enough, Shane McMahon didn't come to take his cup back. But
Shane got next. Shane got next.
Imperium's music hits. Out comes Gunther with the Intercontinental Championship. And then so we have just nice little kind of stare down between the two, because now it's Ricochet versus Gunther. Just kind of remind people that that's where we're going. So overall,
well, I liked that Ricochet was like, I won this, that's next.
Yeah. I really want him to have a shot at this. I don't think we're going to. I think it's going to end up being he loses and then Braun goes for it. And the
only way I see this is if Braun's not just after the title, if he's just after Gunther, then I can see them him costing the title.
Yeah.
And that sets up their match.
And then he gets a match with Gunther just because Gunther's mad. That makes sense. So that ends up that show. Really good show.
Solid show. That main event made up for a lot of really weak.
Yeah.
It was just a really, really good show. The main event was, at least.
Yeah, the main event was really good. It's definitely good to see those stars shining in WWE, because normally that's where AEW shines, is the people like Ricochet, the people like Santos, getting the spotlight. Seeing Ricochet close out the show, holding a cup in the air, even though Gunther comes out and steals some of that shine, still him.
Did he?
Yeah, still him being there made all the sense in the world.
You can definitely see the people that Hunter has a much higher opinion of than Vince did. 100%, because Ricochet, I mean, there's a ton of them. The females that he's brought back, Ricochet, there's just so many that weren't getting a fair shot before because Vince didn't like them.
Yeah. I do hope that we're not going to end up in return fatigue, because it seems like every week we have a new person coming out.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble should be really interesting.
Yep.
I definitely think we're going to get some surprise returns, even if it's just one-offs. I definitely think we'll get some surprise returns there.
Yep. I will say I don't like the world we're in now, and I hate saying it that way because it makes it sound like it's going to be a political talk, but it's not. I hate that the internet ruins stuff. Because like even just like we started this episode talking about William Regal and Eric Young.
Right.
If they just showed up one day, massive.
It's a bigger deal.
But us already knowing.
I didn't know Tegan. I knew there was rumors she might go back. I didn't expect to see her show up.
See, I didn't even hear rumors about that one, and
I
that's
think I saw one place where somebody was like, "There's rumblings that there's a discussion."
yeah.
Like it wasn't a "this is happening." It was a "this is a possibility," and right now it's just kind of a whisper.
Yeah.
And then boom, there she was.
I audibly popped for that one because I had no clue, and then to see her logo show up on the screen, I'm like, oh, we're gonna pay off this. Awesome.
Right.
So that was really good. Um,
Overall, good show. Main
yeah,
event carried. First match carried. Decent stuff in between, except for the women's match, which was unnecessary.
yeah.
The best thing they could do is get the main title off of Ronda, and if you're going to do something, put the tag titles on them.
Yeah, that would make
and
sense.
then bring back Sasha and Naomi, because even Sasha can make Ronda look good.
So I saw someone tweet, and I can't remember who it was. So I'm sorry that I don't get to credit them for this, but they said something that made a lot of sense to me, and it's that Ronda has digressed.
I agree.
She was really good when she started. Like, her personality wasn't there, but her in-ring stuff, her in-ring was really good.
Better.
And she hasn't gotten better. She's gotten worse. And I don't know why.
I think, honestly, being out having the baby is what backed her up, basically. It's like that missing time. I'm not doubting she can keep herself in shape, but it doesn't seem like she put in the ring time.
Yeah. All right, so that leads us to Rampage, which happens same day as SmackDown. A really fun, quick show. I like Rampage just because it's just a quick hitter for wrestling. Not a lot of story stuff, but a little bit sprinkled in. But it's just, here's some wrestling matches that we know you'll like to watch. Start off with Cole Carter versus Darby Allin. Cole Carter being from the factory. Good match. Carter, series of textbook wrestling maneuvers and some near falls, so definitely got to show off some of his talent. But Allin ends up hitting a modified Scorpion Death Drop, which looked really good.
It was really pretty.
I would almost be fine if he started using that more as a finisher because of how good it looked. I like the coffin drop, but I think he needs something else.
The coffin drop is so, and he can hit that on anybody.
Yeah.
That Scorpion, him being he's not small, but him being as short as he is.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, look how much trouble they had doing that to, I think it was Satnam.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I'm just saying, like, that being something harder hitting in his repertoire. Yeah.
Yeah, no, add that into the mix. I'm here for it.
So, winner Darby, he wins it from that. Really good match for that.
Good match.
Quick backstage interview with Keith Lee. This is one that I immediately had to text you about when I saw it, because I was like, big meaty men slapping meat coming apparently. So Renee's in there with Keith Lee. And wants to talk about what's going on with Lee and Swerve, but then Shane Taylor comes out, which is a former tag team partner of Keith Lee, and one half of the Pretty Boy Killers. Taylor wants
a former ROH TV champion.
Yeah. Taylor basically wants to know, like, why he keeps leaving his family. He's left Taylor before, he left Swerve, like, he's just leaving everybody. He wants to have a match with Lee in a tag team match at Final Battle, and then Swerve comes up behind him. And he goes, can I even trust you? And then walks off. So maybe we get Swerve in our glory one more time, or maybe we don't. I don't know.
I won't be surprised that even if we get Swerve in our glory, if Swerve doesn't turn and help Shane Taylor, and it be you turned your back on both of us, or it's a Shane Taylor comes out after Swerve in our glory is out and says, here's my partner, and Swerve attacks Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't think he said specifically who his partner was. So yeah.
It'll be fun to see no matter what. Like,
it'd definitely be interesting.
Swerve's doing good stuff. This is the first time I've seen Shane Taylor, but it looks like he has, like, good skills as far as the mic is concerned. And if he tagged with Keith Lee, I can imagine he probably has something similar in style, at least. And so seeing those two big boys go at it would be kind of fun. Then we had a stage interview with the Acclaimed, and it was supposed to be an interview with them and Renee, but then it kind of went off the rails because the Gun Club came out, and then Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh came out. Billy Gunn takes the mic and goes, hold on. No, we said we want to face the best. And then FTR come out. They shake hands. And so it looks like FTR's finally going to get that tag title shot that they've been number one contenders for 100 and some odd days.
Well, but see, they lost the number one contendership to Swerve and Keith Lee. But my favorite part of this whole thing was they walked by those four on the stage like they weren't even there.
Didn't matter that they were even there.
Didn't even acknowledge them. Just kept walking. And I was like, oh, damn, the disrespect.
Absolutely. So then that leads to our next match, Private Party versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Yeah, basically. Couple of good spots from Private Party. I like
Private Party.
I do like Private Party. The pairing of them and Matt Hardy seems weird. But
so it's not though, because back when Matt Hardy kind of first came in after Jeff left, he started the Matt Hardy family office, and he bought the contracts of Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
Well, then Andrade came in and took over, and it became the Hardy Andrade family office.
Yeah.
Finally, Private Party realized that Matt was basically just using them for money. Kind of turned their backs on him. And then Andrade did the same thing to Matt. So they did a series of vignettes with Matt going, I was wrong. They played it out through Dark, Elevation, Rampage, Being the Elite. I mean, they were playing it out everywhere of him talking, saying, hey, I noticed this during, like, trying to coach them up, basically.
Right. Trying to get back in their good graces.
Right. Saying, and he's like, I owe you guys money. And he, like, kind of like the Miz thing, brought a bag of money and was like, I owed you this. I took this from you. It wasn't right. I just want to make things right. So I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the mentorship. He knows his time in the ring is minimal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal get the win. The finisher was kind of cool. I mean, if I can say anything good about the match, doing the lethal injection into a stroke, or a stroke into a lethal injection, however you want to say it. It was
supposed to be a stroke into a lethal injection, except the stroke went backwards, I thought.
No, the stroke is forward.
Okay, well, Jarrett ended up like sitting down, so it looked really weird.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, and if he sat down with it, that's weird. I didn't notice that.
He himself ended up sitting down, but whichever one's in he had kind of went forward for the lethal injection, which is fine. But I'm just like, I would rather Jeff do something else to set that up.
Yeah. I don't. I think if he pull it off better, it would look good as is. But yeah, the stroke was what is now the skull crushing finale.
Right.
It's same thing. So if he could do it and just kind of let go as he goes down or something, like, it could look really cool. He's going
to have to lay himself out forward, though, and because of the lethal injection, it's going to be harder to catch himself.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think they need to work on that.
Yeah. Then we had Athena versus Danny Moe.
He beat the brakes off that girl.
I don't know why they even give these girls names anymore, because it didn't matter.
He beat the brakes off of that girl.
Yeah. So Athena essentially, like a lot of high impact moves right away, was unable to get the pin. At one point, though, she had her down for the pin and then pulled her back up. It's like, oh God, she kicked out.
I like what they're doing with Athena, and I am probably not going to buy Final Battle, but I can't wait to see that match with her and Mercedes.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, shortly after that, she hit her finisher, picked up the win. We were done. Like it.
The O face.
It wasn't as dominant as the last one. If you saw the one before, because like essentially she just went in there and like right hand and knocked her out. Like it was done the entrances lasted longer.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I've seen, Mike Tyson fights that lasted longer than that.
You're
Jesus.
not wrong.
So then that leads us to the All-Atlantic Championship Lumberjack match. Orange Cassidy versus QT Marshall, or Marshall, whichever one you want. It was
I was going to correct you no matter how you said
it was a basic OC match. Some of the highlights of it is Penelope Ford showed up and stood up on the apron to distract Cassidy, so Kip Sabian could then push him off the top rope to try to get him to lose, but then Orange ended up hitting his finisher and winning. So,
look, if we get Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian, and some good matches, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean they've been teasing this for a while, and if they're finally going to give this to us,
I feel like Kip Sabian is one of the most underrated and underutilized guys they have.
He is. I think he's one of those though. He doesn't really fit in the top of the card, and so it's hard to put things on him that are really good. Like I think of him a lot like the Zombie Princess. It's very similar to that, where
he's mid. I mean,
he's never going to be that top guy or even in that top tier going for the top prize. But
with MJF having the title, I think they could put on a good one. I just don't think it would be interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so it basically, that push off leads to QT doing a diamond cutter. Orange kicked out of that, and then hit his finisher to win and retain. What I like about it is as soon as the match was over,
he went after Kip.
Yeah, he's looking like he's going to stand there and do his normal shtick, and then no, he went out and suicide dive straight to Sabian. I was going to say Cabian. That wasn't going to be right.
Yeah, no, that Kip Sabian and Orange will be a good match.
It'll be a good match. But so as he's starting to beat down Kip Sabian, the lights go out, but before we talk about what happens here, if they're going to use this as the House of Black's gimmick, then we need to stop using it every time someone comes in. This needs to be a House of Black thing.
I agree. I agree completely.
Because so lights come back up, House of Black is there, and they lay waste to everybody except Ortiz.
Santana. No, it is Ortiz. It is Ortiz.
Yeah, it's Ortiz.
I was going to ask if you caught that.
I did catch that.
They were going after him, and Black's like, no, not him.
Yeah, I'm interested what's going to happen with that. I don't see Ortiz fitting in that faction, so I wonder why we're sparing Ortiz. Because it's not to turn him. Is it?
I don't know.
That's going to be the first thing that.
It was interesting.
Yeah, is that no? I want him, and we're going to do this.
Possibly.
So yeah, they're about to hit him. He says no, and so then they attack Serpentico. That's not what I was talking about though. So, fan camera caught that. What is the name of the Elite's little spray boy?
Brandon Cutler.
They took out Brandon Cutler, and then Malachi put a chair down and started talking over his lifeless body.
Like he put the chair on him?
No, so they took him out about the ring bell position.
Okay.
And so then he puts a chair right next to him to where he can sit and just kind of peer over. And he's talking to him. And so I'm wondering, is that set up for them in the Elite?
So,
and why they didn't put that on camera?
Because they don't want to give it away, because this tells us that the Elite is winning those trios tag titles.
Maybe.
Because I don't remember who beat them, but I want to say Death Triangle beat the House of Black for the trios titles.
Maybe. Are you looking that up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it was a nice little thing that just like if I hadn't have been on Twitter earlier, I wouldn't have seen it before we started recording. But definitely like a very ominous thing for them to do. and two pointed. Like, there's no way that didn't happen.
No, it was
for
the
a
House of
reason.
Black. It was Dark Order that beat him.
Oh, okay.
That was something we didn't mention.
That makes sense, yeah, because there was a lot of talk of would someone from there join Dark Order, or other way around, House of Black.
It was 10.
Yep. So
they had that little video segment for that too, which
yeah, they did.
They're gonna have to bring somebody else into the Dark Order for that to make any sense or be any good.
Yeah, because it's not that you don't have good talent there, but everybody there is a comedy wrestler. There's no one there that I take seriously.
If you brought Alan Angels back, I could kind of see it.
Yeah.
But he's heavy in the Impact now. Isn't he part of the Violent by Design?
Yeah.
Because it was him and Connor from the Ascension that showed up that one night.
Right. And so, yeah, he's part of that as long as they keep that going.
You're going to have to put somebody else into this because Butcher, Blade, Roosh, and Preston against Uno, John, and Alex. Yeah. That's not even fair.
His career ties so much to Brody. I'd be fine with Redbeard.
Ooh.
Bring him in and him be the heavy.
That could be really interesting.
And Cabana's still part of the Dark Order, isn't he? Or has he officially?
I thought he got fired because of CM. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't know. He just kind of, when they wrote him off TV, he was just kind of gone.
Yeah, but maybe slide him back in as a Dark Order member, and those four I think have a chance.
Maybe.
And have -1 go out there and play some shenanigans.
I love that kid.
Yeah. If he stays the course, and because that's the thing with kids, you can't ever tell if they're going to follow in footsteps, if they're going to keep wanting to do what they want to do.
Right.
But if he stays with this in AEW and just stays this course, that kid's going to be amazing by the time he turns 18.
Yeah. Well, and everything, because I follow Amanda who on Twitter, his mom.
Yeah.
And she's talked about it numerous. She's like, this kid has loved this business since he was born.
Yeah.
She said, and Brody took him everywhere. Like, he hated not being able to take them with him on trips because his family was so important to him. And she said, Brody Jr. would just all the time, I want to do this, I want to do that. And Brody's like, you're 5, stop it.
Yeah.
So seeing the videos that I've seen that they've shown of him and Brody Jr. and the stuff that she's tweeted and said and so on, I can't see him not doing it.
Yeah.
And if he decides not to, he decides not to.
Yeah, I mean that's on him for sure. I mean, if
it was an okay show overall, like it wasn't groundbreaking. The Acclaim part was great.
Yeah, I mean it has good spots in it. Like I said, I wasn't the biggest AEW stan starting into this, but the more I watch it, like the secondary show is better than I thought it would be. I definitely thought I was going to be watching like main event when it came to this, and this is.
I kind of look at this, and we were talking about comparing it to WCW earlier. I kind of look at this at like Thunder was, except this makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because Thunder was ridiculous. It just got ridiculous. Everything ridiculous happened on Thunder.
Yeah. Well, and it eventually ended up being that no mainstream talent was on there.
Right.
And so the fact that you have Orange Cassidy show up, the fact that you have the Acclaimed show up, FTR showing up, House of Black, it's good that they keep that there. Secondary shows like this should always be like, this is where talent that can be towards the top of the card,
but isn't there yet.
Yeah. Or even just can't be, like, there's too much story right now for us to put you in something.
Yeah,
we want to keep you on TV.
2 hours on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not like WWE where you have 7 hours of TV a week.
Right. This
You
should be
have
spots
3 hours of
to compare it to the main event scene. Like on main event, we're seeing people from NXT come up and have matches with people that we don't see at all on WWE
right.
anymore.
The WWE has almost too much TV,
Mm-hmm.
but they have the roster for it.
Yeah.
The problem is AEW has the roster for it, but they don't have enough TV.
No.
Even with the YouTube shows, they have less than 6 hours of TV.
Yeah. Which will probably change once the ROH thing gets worked out and they can.
If that's the case, and you move some of your talent to ROH, are they doing an hour? Have we heard what? I haven't heard anything on what they're doing with ROH.
I haven't. All I know is that at one point they had the possibility of a deal, and then that deal went away.
Okay.
And so I think we're trying to find a spot or a home for them.
So my feeling is, if you're going to do an ROH show, put it on Thursdays. There's Impact on Thursdays, and I hate to say this, and no disrespect to anybody there, no one cares.
Yeah. They don't have the production.
They don't have the production, they don't have the advertisement, they don't have the names.
Yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, like, here's the thing, like, if I had a choice of, like, you can only watch one 1-hour show, I would watch Impact. Impact's good TV, but when you have a crowd of maybe 100 people on a TV channel that no one has,
right,
that you have to get, like, the third gold tier of a cable company to get that channel, and then it's in like the 700s.
Yep.
Like it's really hard to get over the top there. And yeah, you have cool things happen, like Bully Ray coming back to fight Jason Alexander, and that's cool stuff. But if I can't see it on my weekly TV on an easy channel I can get to, I ain't looking for it.
But here's the other side of that. Is Bully Ray really a main event draw? I'm not saying he's not good enough, but I'm just saying at this point.
So here's the other problem with Impact. Impact plays a lot like AEW plays with BTE. Mm-hmm. Bully Ray is a main event draw for Impact. But if you hadn't watched Impact when he was on top, or you don't listen to the Busted Open podcast to hear him talk, you don't know how good he is and how much of a main event star he is. You just know him as the stuttering, bumbling fool that used to put Mae Young to the table.
Deadly. I know how good Bully Ray is.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a talent. But if you put him in either WWE or AEW right now, he's on Rampage or main event.
Yeah. He's not going for the world title. That's
not at all.
No.
He may get a U.S. title shot if he's lucky. So I just, until they should give ROH a 2-hour show on like Thursdays. You could split that roster to the ROH talent on there. Now, I'm not saying you can't have people like Joe doing both.
Yeah.
But you could conceivably, because they usually tape Rampage after Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
You could conceivably either do ROH live or do a live taping every other week.
Yeah. Do like the old Monday Night Raw schedule.
I don't think at any point you should tape more than the second week at a time, because the Rick Rude paradox. That's what I'm going to call it.
Well, it becomes complicated, I would assume, to write TV for that, because then that means that TV, you can't do anything groundbreaking.
Nope.
Anything groundbreaking has to wait until the next week so we could do
the next live show.
Yeah.
So or you make Friday Night Rampage always live and you do ROH before it.
Yeah.
Which you could do. You could easily do. And even if you did that, you could give some actual credibility to one of your YouTube shows doing it after Dynamite.
Yeah. And to me, though, that's something that they need to jump on now. Is start doing some ROH stuff on YouTube. You need to start prepping your audience for that.
Yep.
Because if one day we just show up and ROH is a thing, I don't know that the AEW crowd just follows that.
Some will. Because I feel like there's a lot more wrestling fans.
Yeah.
I meant to point out when we were talking about SmackDown earlier, Michael Cole referred to them as wrestlers and wrestling fans.
Yep.
They dropped the sports entertainment part, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, there was I want to say it was a tweet, and I don't remember who did it, but it was one of their wrestlers, and they had mentioned that like the forbidden words list had been basically torn up.
Yeah.
Stop hiding behind these words you can't say.
Because Hunter knows it's stupid.
Yeah. Call him a wrestler. Call him a superstar. Any of those is fine.
And to me, it's no different than pretending like you're the only game in town.
Yeah.
Because you're not, and everybody knows you're not.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: if nothing else, for like a heel like Roman, being able to use the word wrestler is amazing because he can use it derogatory. Yep. He could say, look, you're nothing but a wrestler. I'm a superstar.
Yep.
It's fine. And then eventually when that wrestler beats him, then even though he was derogatory about the term, it shows that the wrestler is a good wrestler. There's nothing wrong with that word. And them saying you can't say it is just insane. It handcuffs everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll meet up and we'll talk about Monday Night Raw and NXT, and then prepare for Winter is Coming, which is always a weird thing to say.
Is that Wednesdays?
I
thought we had another week or two for that.
It may be another week or two, but
we have a week or two for that.
Yeah, still kind of the preparation up to. So if you like us, subscribe, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. We got our socials down there.
Hit us with your comments. Hit us with your
comments. For the people that watch, if you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, definitely put it down in the comments. As you can tell, we love just saying our opinion. It's just kind of fun. I got my hype girl back there telling people. Got our personal Twitters down here underneath us. Yep, subscribe up there. Anyway,
we keep her around, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's red.
That is red.
If you enjoy the content, it should be gray, depending on what type of YouTube you have.
Got YouTube education from Kai. There you go, fellas. All right. That wraps up another episode. Definitely come back. Have some fun with us. Bye.